G'day and welcome to Until the Last Gasp, the Extreme Metal Podcast. My name is Fraser. If you want to get in contact with me, just catch us on the Facebook at Until the Last Gasp, Extreme Metal Podcast. Also available on Spotify at the moment. So hoping to get some Bandcamp stuff happening soon. But until then, we're just going to mainly use my YouTube channel for any videos or podcast updates as well as Spotify. So what I'm doing here today, hopefully this is going to be work out for a video. I'm here with Matt from Acamarachi. And what we're doing is basically going over, we watched the Lords of Chaos movie. Matt had been watching that and speaking to me about different things in black metal, asking me questions, and he'd been starting to listen to some things. So I said, hey, let's have a discussion about it, see what you kind of found that you may have enjoyed or things that, needed clarification on. And we can have a discussion about it. But Matt, do you want to just introduce your band and have your social media links and what you guys are about?
I'm Matt from Acamarachi. That's my band. And we're spread out across the world. We're a power metal band. And our second album has just dropped called Rise of the Broken.
And you got Facebook, and you have also a website as well, don't you?
www.acamarachi.net.
.net, no worries. So anyway, here we are. I've just recently watched this movie. I was putting it off. I mean, I saw when it was going to be released, I saw the trailer for it, and I had a bit of a facepalm moment, mate. I'm going to tell it to you fucking straight. So when you told me you'd watched it, I fucking had a bit of an internal groan because I was like, oh, fuck, what have they filled your head with? But after watching it myself, it kind of definitely confirmed a lot of bad suspicions I had. I mean, it did try get some things right, but it got a lot of things wrong, not so much in the events per se, but just a lot of the shit around it I found really. Big thing I'm going to say about is how I was just not a fan of the tone, like the tone of this thing, being a fan of black metal, and I've fucking, me, man, I worshipped at the altar of black metal for years. So when this thing came out, I took one look at the trailer and they had it also as that Metallica fucking video thing or whatever. So like probably the worst Metallica song I've ever heard in my life, which also just, I don't know, the writing was on the wall with it, I was just kind of like, oh, God, what the fuck are they doing with this? Especially because this is the thing, like the director used to be in Bathory, if you know Bathory.
Yes, I know Bathory.
Yeah, so they were like, pretty much the godfathers of that second wave of black metal sound. They almost invented it along with Hellhammer and stuff like that, but you definitely hear on that kind of mid-'80s period that it was really like, Bathory with first 3 to 4 records, especially the third one was like full on, like you could hear almost the birth of black metal sound right there, what they had in Norway. So it's like you have the guy who was in Bathory, I think he was the drummer, and you go, oh, God, all right, this guy's going into directing. I mean, the video for Metallica and all that, I mean, the costumes looked okay. It was like a test footage thing. So you're like, all right, this kind of looks pretty produced and colourful, but it's a fucking Metallica video. So what do you expect? But then when you finally see the preview of it too, it's like, I don't know, straight off the bat too, going into the movie, like the tone of the filming, lack of shadows there, it's kind of really bright for the fucking tone of the movie. And then we'll have that
Theo music in it.
But yeah, and aside from that too, the way that
Theo.
Oh yeah, no knock on Theo, man. Fuck.
Not in the movie.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was the period too, because it was late '80s. So I kind of guess like they would have had some of that shit around. Like everyone starts somewhere, and there would have been guys that were listening to that, and it's like they would have been the big bands heading to Norway at that time. So they would have all been going to those shows because that would have been the only metal shows you were getting. Like '88, you're fucking gonna be hard pressed to try and get any of the kind of like real extreme bands out there from that period, especially the guys in early death metal bands like Morbid Angel and shit like that, or Death.
Yeah.
But even the introduction, like straight away, it just rubbed me the wrong way because it was that kind of like
what truth lies on what actually happened.
Sort of. I mean, that there, and you kind of look at it and then you go, yeah, okay. Well, you've just admitted that you're talking shit. It's bullshit. What it is it's half bullshit, half American movie made thing, and that's the problem I have with it. It's a very American teen drama tone kind of thing at the start. It's like, how they go, "Hi, I'm this person from a fucking small little town. Ha, me and my friends, we did all this stuff." And that kind of fucking American coming of age movie that they always do, where it's kind of like. So it was like, this is a movie that I would have expected to be like a crime drama centered around a group of musicians. So when you have biopics, like if you've seen ones that have been coming out for like the hip hop genres and all of that stuff, like you had the one about NWA and you had the one about Tupac and all of that stuff. And the tone of those, like, they really take it seriously. Like, they treat the guys in the bands or the projects like with
this was like a psychological comedy.
Yeah, it's fucking because they space that out. Like, like at the end of every scene, this is another thing I had a problem with, but at the end of every scene, it kind of feels like there's this almost physical gag. So where they start to try and have something almost serious, there's almost a physical gag at the end of every scene that's like almost like taking the piss, really. And it left a bad taste in my mouth, especially when you see how much love you get all these biopics of like different artists right now. Like they did the Queen one as well and all this shit. So these are all being made now. Like the music biopic market is fucking huge. And this is... the subject matter in this is probably some of the most serious shit you could have happen especially to a small fucking country, with a really conservative populace. And then you've got, the youth basically in revolt, burning churches, killing each other, murdering people, and it's like, I understand there's a certain level of metalheads that are kind of drinking piss and partying and all that stuff. But these guys were taking themselves... Well, they were taking themselves way more serious. I mean, fuck, we all get pissed. But the thing is, too, it's like, I'm sure there was times for, like, NWA and all that where they were all getting fucking drunk and acting crazy and doing all this kind of, young guys with a bit of money doing stuff. But they didn't make that the focus of the movie, that they were just, goofing about half the time and they just stumble into these things. Like,
except for the dirt.
But that's a big thing that I actually wrote down in here. It's like, it literally feels like Motley Crue's The Dirt with fucking snuff scenes in it or some shit, like that's got like levels.
Have you not watched it?
The Dirt? No, I have watched it. That Netflix one.
Yeah, it's fucking horrible.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, it's
shit, and they're just fucking junkies.
Pretty much. I mean, they're not junkies in this, but it does kind of go into that.
No, but
horrendous.
Varg was a soft cop.
Oh yeah, I mean the portrayal of Varg Vikernes in this. Like, I know that Varg Vikernes is one of these people in metal now that you kind of nobody looks up to the guy in any kind of sense. That's just like, when they go, oh yeah, early wave black metal, and music press is going to sit there and go, oh well, the albums were good, but separate the artist and the music kind of thing, because of a lot of the things that he's done, even after the murder, some of the things that he said and all that stuff, it's pretty taboo now. Like, especially Burzum in itself is, it's pretty taboo. Like he did end up writing a bunch of
books. Because I looked up some interviews with him.
Yeah.
And he blames it all on Euronymous.
Oh, I'm not even talking about that. Like, even past the crimes, like he wrote some books in prison. He kind of got into the National Socialist scene. You saw they addressed, like, they had the swastika flag in the background in that meeting. So they were kind of touching on the stuff he did. He wrote some books during his time in prison and after. He really went heavy into his National Socialism kind of stuff. So it
really, I'm surprised a cunt can scratch his balls.
Oh well, I don't know, man. It's like he's a clean guy. Like, that's the thing. Like, when they're doing, I don't drink, I don't do this stuff. It's like he's
I'm just a fucking nutcase. I'm a nutcase, but a different nut.
Yeah, it's pretty much it. It's like, that's the thing. It's like the portrayal of it. If you've ever watched the interviews, like, I'm sure you watched the movie, saw the portrayal of him.
Yeah,
That's one of my biggest gripes of this movie too. Is just some of the characterizations of different people. Like the casting is horrible. First and foremost, like that guy who plays Varg has no. If you watch an interview with Varg, even from his prison stint to modern time, like all that, he's pretty much the same guy. You never really found too much difference in him. Like, I mean, maybe when he was younger, he may not be as articulate, but he always seemed like he was.
Yeah.
No one ever made him out to be a fool, and no one's ever said that he was stupid. They always said that he was pretty intelligent. So people were pretty shocked by the level of
aggressiveness.
Yeah, of his crimes and all this stuff, because he seems more of an intellectual than a physically violent person. But like he's saying, he's got himself into a thing where he believes this guy who's meant to be his friend is going to kill him. And his events and then what they do in the movie kind of very different too, because the murder and all that, they take place very much so in his kitchen, and he's there drinking a milk and watching him bleed out in his own house. And it's not really what I've ever heard anyone say about it. So, I mean, maybe there was some crime scene stuff that I've never read about, and I'm just purely ignorant myself. But from what I read, and I've read the first edition of the Lords of Chaos book.
There's a book?
It's based on a book.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's based on a book. It's a true crime.
Oh, I've got to fucking get it.
Yeah. It's hugely well known in the black metal circle. I mean, it has controversies in itself. Some of the guys, like Varg, has a big thing against the guys who wrote it. He spoke to them. He even spoke to them for a second edition when he was in prison. So they did a second pressing of him when he was in prison, and he criticizes the way that they portrayed him, even in the book. But even so, a lot of people say, when Varg has any kind of backlash or is not portrayed 100% the way he wants, he'll just disavow it anyway. So you don't really know. But even the portrayal of him in the book and the way they portray him in the movie is just nothing alike either. So it's odd. And even the other guys in the Mayhem, I mean, looking at people like... There's a level of stoicism to the guys in that band, Like, maybe except for Necro Butcher, because you've seen that interview. I don't know if you've ever watched Metal a Headbanger's Journey when they met up with the guys in Mayhem. There's this hugely famous thing with Necro Butcher. They'd been drinking at Wacken Festival, and you've got the guitarist that plays Geronimus named Blasphemer, and you've got Necro Butcher there. Ooh, got a young one there.
Sorry, bro.
No, you're right, man. So anyway, Necro Butcher's there and he's had a few drinks and all that stuff, but at no point do you ever look at these guys and you kind of go like, oh, they're just a bunch of, young guys, or, especially not in that interview, but you would never look at them and go, they don't take themselves seriously. It's all an image to them or nothing like that. Like, they're pretty intense guys. They don't...
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's nothing about them that isn't intense. And there's a level of stoicism after you've been around them for the most part, except for that thing you'd see with Necro Butcher, which got hugely popular. They're not emotionally out there like an American kind of portrayal of them is made out. Like, they're very... Yeah, there's like that kind of feel. Like, have you seen any of their interviews and all that stuff? They're not very jovial. They're not very like anything like what these portrayals of them are. And that's kind of how I would think that you would portray them if you wanted to be having a representation of the band.
Yeah. Even that, the interviews I watched him in, after he'd been released, he was as hard as fucking rocks.
I mean,
there was no fucking emotion. There was no fucking anything.
Oh, yeah, he's really matter of fact, even when he talks about killing someone.
Yeah, it's just like he said he was going to stab me, so I stabbed him fucking first, and I fucked him up.
Yeah, that's it. And that's pretty much what you will find for a lot of the different guys in that scene too. So when you have these ones where they're all just kind of every second chance they get, they're goofing about and all this stuff, it's like there was a level of seriousness that they took themselves that I think the movie tries to downplay, because Yeah, I guess you could say, oh, you don't want to kind of make young people look at this and go, oh, that's the way you do it and that's the way to be true. And you don't, it's like a disavowing of that kind of thing. But at the same time, if you're going to be accurate in what you're doing, like at no point do they go to other movies where they've done shit and go, oh, well, we'll downplay these things about their history. Like, you know, in the hip hop scene, like, you know, a lot of them got done for, you know, different crimes. There was violence, drug possession, and dealing, or involved in gangs, and they never downplay that because it's like that's part of what it is. That's the history.
Yeah.
So even when you first start off and they're a garage band, and you're like, okay, yeah, they're a garage band, and you know, it's like, oh, all right, they sound like shit. All right, yeah, fair enough. But then you have like Mannheim there playing drums, and his sticks get caught in the roof, and then you know, like
that was
straight away, it's just like, yeah, I guess you're trying to humanize them. Okay, let's see how you go. But then it just keeps that tone. And straight after having that whole introduction where he's like I said, that coming of age American style movie, it doesn't sit right. And then especially because it holds that tone the whole time. And then they play live, and then you just see like real close-ups of Dead, the singer, just cutting into his arms.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, fuck, that took a real left turn. And it's like, okay, that would be kind of where it is. And then it's like, okay, well, now maybe the movie should delve more into this tone. But then the gig's over and it's back to them just fucking around, you know, their thing. And then, like, you know, they have Farg at the diner afterwards, and then he knocks the table.
But
he's like, oh, fuck, I knocked the table. Oh, I'm goofy and all this shit. And so the tone's broken again, rather than this being like a real meeting of kind of like, oh, we'll make something about this to give it a real significance, that it's like, you know, this is where they first got together and it's going to mean something.
I see that differently.
Okay.
And obviously I don't know the black metal side of things.
Yeah.
But I see it. Varg, Christian, whatever you want to call him, back when he met Euronymous.
Mm.
And he said, oh, you guys were really good at the gig.
Yeah.
He was a wannabe.
Yeah, well, Mayhem were kind of the band.
Yeah.
Kind of kicked that off. So they did have a lot of other bands too that would have kind of been like, oh, we have to be like them now, you know? Like they had buzz. So it's not like it would have been purely only Varg. That would have been like, oh, we really like your stuff. Yeah.
I'm going to get a beer.
No worries. Still able to hear me, mate?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay, I'll just keep powering through with this. So the big issue with that being also that they portray Varg in that way and nobody else. Because you have people in it that kind of come in and they just feel like they're already there. Like all the other characters feel like they're established when they weren't. Like everyone kind of came in and they found themselves kind of like, you know, initiated into it as well. Like Bard Faust, he was a young guy that came in and he was in Emperor, but you would think that he was just already working in Helvet when...
In what?
Helvet, the shop.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so it's like that whole thing. It's like, oh, you know, there's this thing where they go, oh, Varg was hazed because he was a loser and everyone else was just there. And it wasn't the case. They kind of fucking did that with everyone. It was like an initiation thing. So even in that, it's like, you know.
Nothing wrong with the initiation.
It's just,
I don't know any band that's
especially when you know, these guys are ending up like they've had suicides and death around them and they're trying to maintain an image. I'm sure they don't want to allow some person that is looking like the way they've been portrayed in that movie just jumping in. Like they would, they wouldn't want anyone running around in like a fucking poison top, you know, trying to become a part of what they're doing. So yeah, okay, they wouldn't.
The thing with the movie,
or
the beginning of the movie, is when they have that big fucking party.
Yeah.
They play a Dio song.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what they would have been playing.
How does that work?
Well, you got to remember the year it was because this was around pretty early. Like, I mean, they do run like 3 to 4 years pretty much like right together for even 5 years. So what happens in this movie feels like it's only like a summer or something like that, whereas really it was across multiple years. That's the thing that they also don't play up. Like, you would think that this was just like, oh, 1 year they all went fucking nuts. Nah, man, it was a gradual, a gradual build up of all this shit over the course of a 4-year period, like from 1989 or even maybe 88 up until 93.
Yeah.
So that also doesn't come across too well. But yeah, that's where I just find if big things like, like that you can also get around, but it just feels weird when, like, you have guys that I feel that were big players that aren't really portrayed in that too. Like, you had Fenris from Dark Throne, and he's meant to be around, but I don't think you see him in there. He probably told them to get fucked when they wanted to use his character as well anyway. Because, I mean, Dark Throne do not give a shit about anything mainstream. They're hiking metal punks is what they call themselves, so they just go camping and, fucking listen to speed metal. Yeah, I mean, good on them. It just keeps their shit intact. But yeah, the whole thing around it I just found really weird too. Is like, even aside from, Varg's the only one that gets hazed and all that stuff. Like I was saying, it feels tonally like something like, some kind of daytime TV, like Home and Away or some shit. They've given fucking black metal the Home and Away treatment. Like, there's drama, and it's about the drama between the people. And it's like, okay, but there was that. But at the same time, it was interspersed with crimes and music and all that shit. And it's like, there was a lot of stuff happening at that time. And it kind of feels like the music is an afterthought, and the characterizations are not as important as basically getting to the crimes. And the crimes and the murders, suicides, all that stuff, instantly you feel there's a different movie happening,
Yeah.
Like the background music's gone, the scenes are really quiet, there's kind of like this almost intimidating feel to them, but they're still that bit too bright.
The biggest thing in this movie that gets me?
What's that?
When Euronymous gets stabbed.
Yep.
He goes, oh, hang on, we can sort this out.
Yeah.
We can turn this into something.
Yeah.
And through the whole time he gets stabbed, he never fights back.
Well, that's the thing too, because even
Who
Varg,
the fuck gets stabbed and doesn't do anything about it?
That's why Varg also says that he tries to say it was self-defense, even the guy that was unarmed, because he kicked him, pushed him, and knocked him as he tried to run our way and all this stuff too. So he did technically fight back at some point. Even Varg said that he did.
I'm just saying in the movie.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, telling you where, the movie itself.
Oh,
like
yeah, I've watched interviews with Varg where
okay.
But in the movie, he sits there and he goes, oh, why are you doing this? I can sort this out. We can turn this into a publicity stunt.
Yeah. Who knows?
And I was like, what the fuck? And then he gets stabbed like 100 times more.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, why are you stabbing me?
We're friends. We're friends. I'm pretty sure after about the first 20 stab wounds, he wasn't your friend anymore. So it's kind of like, we're friends.
Yeah.
It was a bit odd. A bit of an odd choice, I will admit. But there was even the bit with like Snorre, the guy that drove him.
The other guy.
Yeah, the guy that drove him. He actually saw it go down and fucking legged it. He ran. That's what they even said in their account. So then
and he got jailed for it.
Yeah.
Because I watched the interview with that one too.
Right. So he'd walked in and seen that, Varg's standing over this guy stabbing him, and he's just legged it. And Varg's chased him down the street and told him to come back, talked it out with him, got him to come into the car again so that they can, keep their story straight.
Yeah.
So it's like even that part's kind of that last scene, as much as some of the other stuff, like the suicide scene of Dead was
that was awesome.
That was insanely accurate, man. Like everything about like the if you've ever seen the letter.
Yeah, the letter he wrote.
He just said,
I read the letter he wrote in real life,
Yeah.
but the letter he wrote in the movie only had like 2 lines.
No, that's what happened. He wrote a very short letter.
No.
He had multiple other letters he'd written over the time, but when he died, like when he committed suicide, the letter he wrote was very short. It was only like, sorry for the mess.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm going to Transylvania. Sorry for the mess or some shit. And he fucking killed himself. That's why it was just such an odd thing. And it made people think that Euronymous had killed him. So people believe, there was a rumor for a while that
the one that I looked up, and I looked up Dead Suicide Note.
Yeah, all right.
Was like fucking 2 pages.
Oh, he had lots of notes around that time that you see and drawings. So just about anything that guy wrote.
My new knife isn't sharp enough to finish the job.
Yeah.
So I'm taking the shotgun and I'll finish it.
Yeah, he probably wrote that and sent it to someone. But the note he left for Euronymous was the one he wrote when he was...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he wrote probably notes before that he'd sent out or something to somebody. And then, just posted that, gone home and killed himself and left a note and just said to Euronymous, sorry for the mess kind of shit. It's like that's that thing they were saying about the stoicism of the kind of guys that are like, matter of fact about everything.
And I understand that completely.
Yeah, and that was the thing too. Even Dead's portrayal in this was a bit odd because you see some very small amounts of videos now, and he was definitely an odd guy. But his whole thing that he always used to talk about, he wasn't this kind of like weird kid that was like, oh, we're the Lords of Chaos and we do this and blah. He was always there talking about shit like, about his own.
I just feel sorry for Dead.
Oh, yeah, he was.
He obviously died years ago, but I feel sorry for the guy.
Yeah, he had a really weird thing.
I've been through some hard fucking times, and you know that.
Yeah.
But to have everyone at that point, I get it.
Well, it's one of those things. Like the scene in that kind of does feel very genuine. That scene itself, even though the characterization beforehand, I was like, it just doesn't feel like Dead. It just doesn't feel like him because people would say he was always very weird and like them chasing the cats to kill the cats and all that stuff. That's all in brand for him, But he would always like people would say, "Oh, you go to speak to him," and he would talk about like his own death experience that he had. He died falling through the ice when he was younger, and he was just fascinated with death and all of this stuff. So he had all these morbid fascinations. He wasn't there kind of. You never really hear of him being all like, "Oh, we're going to be this and we're mayhem and we're blah blah blah." So they kind of just wrote these characterizations about him that just felt off. And then there's like they took the events that are very famously he was known for, like sleeping in a coffin, burying his clothes so that he could have the rot smell on his clothes, sniffing the bag with the dead clothes in it. He was truly like, I mean, he kind of gave the band their initial huge boost in credibility to say, this isn't just music, this is extremity,
Yeah.
And then based upon everything else that happened off that, it was just kind of like, okay, that wasn't just a flash in the pan thing. This was truly some fucked up individuals making some different music, So, I mean, it's kind of, separating music and those events is kind of hard because it was all the biggest explosion of creativity from that early scene all happened around all these crimes.
Yeah.
So it gave them notoriety, and then the scene itself exploded, and they kind of couldn't control it anymore too. So that's there was more bands just popping up all the time because of how famous they were getting. And being Norwegian, I mean, anybody who wanted to do something would probably go, "Well, fuck, we're Norwegian. We have to make black metal." Like you would have had people probably doing death metal bands that would turn around the next day and just go, "Fuck this, we're doing black metal now." Like,
sorry,
we have to.
Life metal bands, according to
life metal. I mean, I think that is a pretty accurate term. I think they were like, because they really fucking hated on the death metal bands from Florida when they all started to go. They all started to, adapt to more, but they got outside of the ideas of extreme stuff like death and murder and stuff like that. So that's pretty on point. Yeah, that's why they kind of had that Norwegian black metal as separate thing. They were more into listening to stuff that was coming over from places like Brazil and all that stuff, and really extreme underground stuff, because they felt disenfranchised by death metal. I mean, I think Deicide was one of the only bands that really kind of, because they still maintained the satanic. Yeah, man, Glenn Benton's a badass, man. Like, I mean, like, I haven't loved all of their albums.
From what I've heard of Mayhem, they suck cocks.
Oh, nah, they're a fucking good band.
My opinion.
That's a fucking hot take, man, especially in a fucking episode dedicated to a band. I'm here trying to defend them.
I'm sorry.
Oh, man. Oh, look, you know.
Burzum are cool as fuck.
That's just one guy. But that's the thing, too. Like, you know, Varg is... I mean, he was cool with the guys in Darkthrone. He wrote lyrics for them. You know, nobody turned around really in the Norwegian scene that I'm aware of and turned around and was just like, well, fuck Varg. It mainly came from the Swedish people that Euronymous was in contact with. They had the real big thing. Everyone felt initially when Euronymous was killed, it's like, well, fuck, you know, somebody's done something. We got to go get these motherfuckers. They've killed one of ours. They found out it was Varg. And then with all the shit that had gone on between them, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, well, you know, Euronymous, he was ripping people off. He was a fucking liar. So it's kind of like, the second they found out it was Varg, they're just kind of like, oh, no, fair enough. You know, he was a fucking con artist. So, yeah, you know, he got what's coming to him. And that's like pretty much how a lot of them, I think there was an interview I saw with Garm from Ulva. I think he even said something like that. Like, the people in the scene got sick of Euronymous. So that's where I just find it funny, where it's like it tries to paint Euronymous as a sympathetic character when, you know, most other people took sympathy on him.
I listened to the earliest shit I could listen to of Mayhem, and they suck cocks.
You're saying musically, not your thing.
Musically.
Okay.
And then I'll listen to Burzum's first shit.
Yeah.
And I got into it.
Interesting.
Still very basic.
Yeah.
But
it was.
It had a catch to it.
Yeah, there's kind of that. I really love the old Burzum stuff too. It's got that kind of melancholic ambience, and it just kind of sets it. It's more about creating atmosphere. Mayhem kind of was a very aggressive, very primitive, aggressive style, whereas Burzum kind of had atmosphere and kind of thing. So they were both fairly simple stuff in a way of writing. Like,
oh yeah,
you wouldn't say that Euronymous' writing was that much more like technical or anything than Varg. It was just Varg's kind of created that real dark atmosphere and all that stuff. Just on its guitar sound and its production, whereas Mayhem was just kind of very barbaric, aggressive. They had that real, like, especially if you listen to De Mysterious Domsathanis and Death Crush. You know, they're not really pulling for atmosphere. It's very aggressive. And then they got even more aggressive when Necro Butcher came back to the band and got Blasphemer. And then everything after that. Like, I sent you, because we were talking about this before, and I sent you Wolf's Lair Abyss and Chimera to hear that kind of progression in the playing. And I mean, you know, they're kind of night and day difference, but it's also very much a black metal sound too. But I wouldn't expect that to be your thing, because it's very dissonant. Like, it's especially Blasphemer on the start of.
I like Emperor's earlier stuff.
Oh yeah, no, Emperor fucking rule. I'm actually, speaking of which, my next episode is going to be Emperor, so I'm dissecting all the albums from Emperor in the next one. So just a heads up to everybody who's listening. So the next episode will be about Emperor. But yeah. Getting back to this movie, just kind of, man, it was really painful to watch it. So, like, I had to wait till the family all went to bed, and I'm up late watching this thing, and I'm just like, fuck, I wish I was not watching this anymore. By the time it rolled up to that last, like, the crime scenes, like, you know, the Bard Faust scene where he stabbed that guy repeatedly in the park, you're just like, fuck, this is intense. The suicide scene, that was intense. The murder scene kind of was in the stairwell, but initially it wasn't. Like, it was just odd. And I was just kind of like, I wrote it.
Work out why they made it so he didn't fight back.
Yeah, especially when even Varg says himself.
It's the dumbest fucking thing.
I know.
I can understand getting stabbed once and going, hang on, this is
Yeah.
something was going to turn into something.
Especially when you're unarmed yourself, you know.
Yeah, and he gets stabbed like 40 fucking times.
Yeah, and then he's
and he's like, "Stop it! I'm your friend."
Well, that was the other.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, that was the other thing.
Killing you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that was just a part of trying to make Euronymous feel more sympathetic rather than had his own antagonistic part to play in that stuff.
No. No sympathy.
Well, yeah, you've kind of put your foot down on that, but with the siding with Burzum, so
I'm sorry. Yep, definitely.
And it's weird too because I mean, I think we've gone. I've shit on this as much as I can with going around the different things, and like I was saying, like the comedy stuff around that, it's like every chance they get to make a mockery. Like I did make a few little notes, so I've got here. It's like they did the bit with the interview. They had Varg fucking hitting his head, stumbling through stuff. The petrol pump scene where he's like, just trying to do something as simple as fill up petrol and they have to make him fumble and do all this shit.
Yeah.
They had the restaurant bit with Varg at the table and he just goes to go, oh, I've got to get up, and then nearly knocks shit over. The green room when they were backstage, they're kind of like having Euronymous stand there like he's about to have a fucking panic attack and all this shit. The shop, like so many scenes in the shop, like when they're in the bottom part of the shop and all the guys are goofing off and all this stuff and, they're acting like, oh, we're at a kegger and all this shit when it's like, these guys took themselves way too seriously. That's why these things happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like they may have drank, they may have partied, but that's the weird thing. When you go about like, oh, these guys, they killed each other, they burnt shit down, they did all this stuff, grave desecration. So what's the story you want to tell in between those events? It's like, oh, well, just the story of a bunch of simple young men who, took it a bit too far. And it's just like, well, that was the whole point. It's not like they did it by accident. So why are you portraying it like, oh, it was just like a little bit here and a little bit there? Like they had this level of young male bravado-ness and Norwegian stoicism. So they were all just like, yes, fuck life. Yes, fuck all this. Yes, fuck the church. Fuck modern living.
And one of the main things that gets me from what I watched, and you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, far away.
But Varg was never a Satanist. He was an Odinism.
Yeah, that was...
Odinism? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, he believed in Norse mythology. I mean...
Yeah.
It was that thing, I think maybe in his earlier part of it, he may have used it as more of a thematic thing, but he was never a devout Satanist. But that's also coming from him and what he says later on. And people say that he kind of tries to rewrite history into the way that he wants it. So I couldn't say yes or no. I couldn't really. I mean, I don't think I agree. I don't think he was ever a Satanist. He may have used the themes in his early writing. I mean, you have songs like "E.R. Lord of the Dead," all that kind of stuff. So it's like that's not really any Norse thing. It's kind of just he was very much into fantasy.
I just base that on what he said in later interviews once he'd been replaced.
Yeah, he did that. So you kind of like if you look at some of the song titles and all that stuff on the earlier things, like there is some stuff there where you kind of lend it to saying, earlier on when he was just there writing, it was probably thought exercises more than devotion to Satan,
Yeah.
But there was never really that much in the way of just open Satanism for him anyway. And I mean, he wrote stuff for Dark Throne and stuff like that too. Like he wrote half.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he wrote half the lyrics for Transylvanian Hunger, if memory serves me correct. So, I mean, they got themselves into a bit of trouble when they had that too, because that was kind of around the time when Varg had gone. They had a message on the back of their original press. It was like Norsk Arisk black metal, which was basically saying like, Norwegian Aryan black metal, which kind of got removed after that. So, yeah, a lot of the guys back then were playing with that. And I think it was that idea of you do things that are not cool with society, It was more about provocation for most of them than actual adherence to that kind of ideology. I mean, I've heard people say that there was pictures going around of Satya, or was it? No, not Satya, sorry. I think it was the singer from Dimmu Borgir. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. he had a picture of him carving a swastika into a tree, like back in 92 or 3 or some crazy shit like that, like really young. So it was kind of like, yeah, okay, well, everyone's young and dumb once. I mean, doesn't mean that he was a complete adherent to it. It was just like, this will piss people off. This will make people think, don't fuck with us. And especially with Varg writing books, and he was kind of like, a folk hero of the true Norwegian black metal scene. So people were taking cues off him until it was basically, faux pas to do so. But yeah, I think anyway, if I was to recommend anyone to try and get the idea of a tone for black metal, and if you want to check this out, I'd say look into a documentary that they had come out probably close to a decade now ago called Until the Light Takes Us. Because what it is basically these people with cameras following around different musicians and talking to them. Like you have guys from, the front cover has like Nate Frost of Carpathian Forest, and it's a photo. Like it shows how much, like at that point, this like in the mid 2000s, think how much black metal had kind of been accepted into a bit more of the Norwegian culture at that time. They had like art displays about black metal. And so there was people like in the movie kind of going like, isn't this a bit odd that we now, have art celebrations of this countercultural thing that was... Hello?
Sorry, not you, bro.
That's all good. So, yeah, I mean, it was...
For ice cream.
But, no, that's all right. Ice cream and black metal, mate.
That's it.
Yeah, so it's really weird to see how it kind of, in the span of less than 20 years, went from being this kind of outsider thing that was not accepted by the mainstream there to you have art displays within the middle of their city, about their music form that's kind of now gone, oh, well, it's such a cultural revolution, they've kind of had to embrace it. So it's really odd in that sense. But the tone of that thing too, because you see like visual art thing that the drummer from Satyricon does, and he's just there like setting fire to shit and like cutting himself open, and he nearly killed himself. He like cut his own throat and cut all his own wrists just live there. Yeah, so it's... If you want to see, like, the kind of tone that you would think, I mean, this isn't even about the crimes as well. It's just these people and the kind of that adherence they have to what they believe is black metal. You watch that and you see they're very much about, they'll disappear into isolation, some of them. Like they'll just go into the middle of nowhere in the Norwegian woods just to be away from people because they just don't want to be around people. Like, there's a general level of misanthropy and, fuck the world. That's really, it's legitimate for a fair few of them, like, and I just don't feel that this really gives the scene and the people and the players in it any real justice, like in its portrayal. So I think if I was to recommend to you, man, I'd say watch Until the Light Takes Us, and that would be...
I'll go look it up.
Yeah, definitely do. And anyone else who hasn't, like, I'd recommend that. And even read the book too, just to kind of see. The book itself is just, it's like a true crime book that tells you about the scene, but also the crimes and from around the world and how far it had traveled at the time of the writing. So when you see that this is meant to be an adaptation of that book, and then you go and read that book, you'll also just kind of go, what? How the fuck did you get this from that book? Like, it's tonally just so off. So it's one of those things. I think they wanted the name more than anything. But anyway, man, I think we should leave that there. That was a pretty great discussion, I feel. And, I just wanted to kind of get my opinion of that. But I mean, I think it's for a gateway for you, though. I mean, the movie did serve as, it was a gateway for someone that's not really, I mean, I've known you for close to 15 years now, and I've been bashing beating the drum for black metal for years and years and years. I mean, you've had you've listened to Dissection and Emperor with me, and I think you'd heard those before you'd met me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were aware of it, but then there was like this huge hole in what, the birth of that scene and everything that you weren't.
Oh, for sure.
On. So, I mean, I guess it's kind of served a good purpose if it can take some people and make them see what the scene was. I just think it misrepresents it too much. So it's like, the misrepresentation of what it is. If someone was to take that alone and then say, oh, that's what black metal is, they'd look at it and just go, they're a bunch of fucking morons. They're just a bunch of dickheads.
It made me want to go listen to their music.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's like a.
We all know I'm a nutcase.
Well, I'm just to say, it's like sometimes you get a positive side effect even out of the most negative occurrences, you know? Like there's always a silver lining to something. So, I mean, I'd be pretty grateful now that I can actually have a discussion with you about some, like we're having now, you know? I never thought that me and you'd be sitting here going on, God, how long now? Over half an hour talking about black metal in any kind of way, especially dissecting like the characters of all this stuff. I mean, once you do watch that and you kind of go, oh, all right, well, look at some of the interviews, you really understand how much of a disservice it is, but it's also kind of given people a bit of a doorway into it rather than just the music itself. Because you've had people say, oh, gateway bands into black metal like Cradle of Filth and all that stuff. It's like, yeah,
Fuck off.
But it kind of is.
Suck off.
Another hot take. No, I'm using that more in the sense that it's like, you know, for people that have never heard black metal, you would find more musical similarities in Cradle of Filth to some Norwegian black metal than you would say by listening to. If you were to listen to Death, you would find that, you know, death metal hasn't got as much in common with that as, say, Cradle of Filth. But the thing is, if you want to have a gateway into it, you just listen to what it is. You know, it's like if this is.
But you know me, I'm a muso through and through.
Yeah,
and I play very technical guitar lines.
Mm-hmm.
But I love fucking Burzums. They're early shit anyway.
Yeah, I think there's something magical in those recordings. But anyway, I think that's probably where we should leave it off, man. It's been great talking to you. And I think you've knocked out your microphone.
I have?
Oh, no, it just disappeared, so I didn't think I could see her. But anyway, do you just want to let people know? Oh, actually, let them know the spelling of your band too in case they want to look it up there, because even...
ACAMARCHI.
And that's a .net, not a .com, so look it up on there. And he's also on Facebook, and you got Bandcamp as well, so you can also have a listen and purchase anything if you want to give it a listen there. Support some Australian music there. But yeah, thanks so much for sitting here and having a chat with me, man. It's been definitely a conversation I never thought we'd have, and I'm very grateful that we did. And I hope everyone's enjoyed it because I've really enjoyed talking with you again. And shit, man, maybe they'll release something else that's fucking weird and, you know, kind of stirs up some kind of fucking debate in me that I have to get off my chest so that we can do one of these again.
Awesome, bro.
All right, man, you take care. And for anybody else who's listening at the moment or watching on YouTube, because we will be posting this on video for anyone listening to the audio, we're doing Emperor for the next episode. That one will be just a strictly audio-only podcast, but I will try and attempt to get some more video interviews up there for anyone who wants to kind of watch along. But anyway, as I always say, I'm going to mess my own line up here. But I never do it live.
You're a donkey.
I'm a fucking moron, mate. That's all right. But yeah, anyway, I'll just sign it off there. I'll just sign it off there because I've kind of put myself in my own head. But anyway, I'll catch everybody soon. Catch us on Facebook. Acamarachi for Matt. Until the last gasp for me. And until next week, everybody, take care. Thanks very much.